documents came out, as you find that the United States universities from Harvard on to Columbia and Texas, you can see that the whole student body and the faculty has come out. Journalism is universal. I just want everyone in the world who want to live in peace that the present world order which created the United Nations and had some international global order should now go to sleep, because that global order has been completely destroyed, shattered, defeated and taken over by a tyrant, a power state who does not go along with the international law, with the International Court of Justice, with the United Nations Security Council resolutions, and then you know what I'm referring to is the top number one in the whole world is the America, and that American empire had its last, I think, hiccup and is about to die and be buried into the grave, just like Roman Empire, Ottoman Empire, Persian Empire, British Empire, and its last breath. And the one who is taking this ship down into the ocean and the sea is the weight it was carrying of an illegitimate child, is called a mentally deranged Netanyahu, who is really the war criminal, who has the blood of 100,000 people, both women, children and injured, and those buried alive in the mass graves.
After touching on Western democracies yesterday, I would like to speak about Islamic state policies today. The OIC, which is the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, or in simple terms, the collective voice of the Muslim world, has hosted a summit last week. During that summit, Algeria made a proposal to cut all diplomatic and economic relations with Israel, to essentially deny Arab airspace to all Israeli flights, and that oil-producing Muslim countries should collectively threaten to use oil as a leverage of means to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza. However, this proposal was shut down by these countries here. How much did they pay you? How much did you sell Palestine for? Blood money is on your hands. It's clear to me why those white supremacist countries are always supporting Israel, due to their colonial mindsets and always looking for financial gains and power. But I find it even more disgusting to be betrayed by your fellow Muslim nations. It's distasteful in so many ways. Can you actually believe that Saudi's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has donated $400 million in humanitarian aid for Ukraine just a year ago? And not even a single cent for Gaza. The so-called leaders of the Ummah have left Gaza on its own. Your people are ashamed of you. May Allah disgrace the chairs that you're sitting on.
The United States spends almost $1 trillion every year on war making. But do you know what the budget of the United Nations is? United Nations is supposed to be an institution, a global institution to build peace. The United Nations annual budget, my friends, is $3 billion. $3 billion to build peace, $1 trillion just by the United States to produce war. You can't eat in this country. You can't find a house to live in this country. You can't go to school and study without going to debt in this country. But you can bomb any country in the world. The greatest country in the world is the greatest country, not because there's no hunger in it, but because you can destroy any other country in the world. Those are your values. The values of a country are not to be measured by its constitution. The values of a country are to be measured by its budget. And the United States spends half its budget trying to destroy the world and then wags the finger and talks about democracy. Do you see how strange this looks from outside the United States? People look at this and think, who's this guy Biden? This is crazy. He's mediocre. He's wagging his finger. He's telling us about democracy. And right outside my window is a warship that's ready to destroy my family. It's bizarre. You see, we don't want to deal with humanity as a security problem, as a problem that requires war, as a problem that requires policing. There are real dilemmas of humanity. Those dilemmas of humanity need to be transcended with the politics of love. These mediocre imperialists fear love. They promote hate. They promote hatred. They don't understand love. They don't understand compassion. They don't know what it means to stay awake every night trying to make sure everybody's got something to eat. They don't understand that. We go to the people and say, this is what we want to do. We want to build with love.
Whether you cry, no murderer ever before he goes to the gallows, except that he murdered it. In the last minute, till his neck is broken and he hanged and he takes his last breath, he keeps denying. So Netanyahu or Biden or their all facilitators and all his war council, all his chief of army staff, all his defense minister, all the IDF who when forced, or all those he brought from India, the Muslim haters, and cutting the throats of the babies, and they are raping, and they feel pleasure in that, as the another mentally deranged Narendra Modi in India, who drinks cow's urine and eats cow dung. Similarly, these people, they process their own sewerage water with their own fecal matter, their own urine, and they drink. That is what is the punishment for Netanyahu. This is why it has been prophesied that these people, the Jews, will have a strange type of a disease which will affect their immune disorder, and they will be falling dead on their own. So all the settlers, all the Zionists, all those people, with the exception of those few noble Jews who fear God, who never murder, who never, break any human rights or do genocide and take part in army, they are the one, I think, who will be left behind, and the rest will just face a horrible death. Even those trees they have planted, the trees will speak. Even the stones behind which they hide, they will speak, and it's the Jew hiding in it, get him and kill him. So it's not that you can blame any nation, or you can blame Palestinian, or you blame Egyptian or Syrian or Russian or Chinese or Turkish. You can not blame anyone because you brought this on yourself. So with this note, I will present some evidence and also read out to you the statement of the brave judges of International Court of Justice, so that you shut your mouth and do not bring any bipartisan legislation which you've been trying to threaten them, or you try to present any sanction. See for yourself the insult thrown on you by the sanctions imposed on your generals and your bureaucrats by Iran. So if you kept on for 100 years sanctioning everyone, threatening, and the way you've been humiliated them, you've taken all your naval fleet out of the Red Sea, all Europeans, all Americans, there were no one. So the one part of the world you've been thrown out, humiliated, and you still do not learn. You never learned from Vietnam, you never learned from Afghanistan, you never will learn from Ukraine, because so again you are going to have a humiliated defeat and hiding your face. Why on earth are you supporting a genocide? It's not supporting a war criminal. Then you know it yourself or your public. Now you are arresting the students, the brain, the cream of this society. And if you arrest your own future, you can imagine that civil war brought upon you is how on earth this empire can even breathe a few seconds more. When there is a civil war in the whole of United States, there will be end of the empire.
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार ज़रूर